In an ecosystem, energy flows in one direction. Energy flows in one direction through a food chain. The energy transfer is through eating and being eaten. They can vary in length. Here's an example from the Everglades. It's 5 links long. This is an aquatic food chain. And the producers, the plant life, the photosynthesizers, are a mixture of floating algae called phytoplankton and attached algae. These producers are eaten by small fish. Larger fish eat the small fish. The bass, the larger fish, are preyed upon by large wading birds. And then the top level predator here is the alligator. So I called this 5 links. There are 4 steps of energy transfer, which are the arrows. The top carnivore, the alligator, is 4 steps removed from the primary producer. Many food chains linked together are called a food web. So now we have, here are the 5 organisms that were in that food chain. They're part of a much bigger picture, as you can see here, the food web. Each path through the food web is a food chain. Like I said, it links all of the food chains in an ecosystem together. Most producers die without being eaten, and then they form detritus. That's eaten. Decomposers create the detritus, and then the detritivores, crayfish, grass shrimp, and worms, eat that detritus. Pig frogs, killifish, and other fish eat the detritivores. So the decomposition process releases nutrients that can be used by primary producers. They break down dead and decaying matter into forms that can be reused, kind of like a recycling center. Without decomposers, nutrients would remain locked in dead organisms. There's an example down here of Legos. So we have a Lego house here, gets broken down by the decomposers, then the primary producers can use the Legos to build different things. Disturbances to food webs can cause big problems. If you look at this food web, all of the animals depend directly or indirectly on shrimp-like animals called krill. Krill are one example of small swimming animals called zooplankton. So phytoplankton were the little plants, the photosynthesizers. Zooplankton are the small swimming animals. Krill populations have dropped substantially over time, and so you take a look. Here is where the krill link of the food web is. A drop in the krill population can cause drops in the populations of all of the other members of the food web because it's kind of at the base. Each step in a food chain is called a trophic level. Primary producers are always at the bottom. Various consumers occupy every other level. So you can see different examples of ecological pyramids. We're going to go through some different ones. They show the relative amount of energy or matter contained within each trophic level in a food chain or web. First one is an energy pyramid. Theoretically, there's no limit to the number of trophic levels, but only a small portion of the energy that passes through, specifically 10%, any given trophic level, is stored in the bodies of organisms at the next level, so it's transferred up to the next level. That's what an energy pyramid shows. Organisms spend much of their energy on life processes such as respiration, movement, growth, and reproduction. The rest of it is lost as heat. So 10% of the energy is transferred to the next level, 90% is lost to the environment as heat. So we have our primary producers, which are the plants, first level consumers, second level consumers, and third level consumers. And like I highlighted before, you see the relative amount of energy at each level. If I don't... There we go. Relative amount of energy here that's available at each level. Move the decimal point one place to the left each time. So like I said, about 10% of the energy available is transferred to the next trophic level. The more levels that exist between a producer and consumer, the smaller the percentage of the original energy from producers is available to that consumer. This is a biomass pyramid, just the total amount of living tissue in a trophic level. The amount of biomass is determined by the amount of energy available. So you see the two pyramids kind of echoing one another. It's the relative amount of living organic matter at each trophic level. You can also do this with numbers, pyramid of numbers. The greatest biomass is at the base of the pyramid, and it always is the producers, always the plants. Then a pyramid of numbers shows the relative number of individual organisms at each trophic level. So it's just really a population count. Like I said, in most ecosystems, the shape of the pyramid of numbers is similar to the shape of the pyramid of biomass, and also similar to the shape of the pyramid of energy. In some cases, consumers are much smaller than organisms they feed upon. Like if you look at a single tree as being an ecosystem, the tree has a lot of biomass, but it only represents one organism. So the pyramid of numbers in this case would be upside down, but the biomass would have the normal orientation.